Hello, everybody. This is me, Junior Miami again. Today I wanna talk about um racism in the LGBT community and how it is impinging or undermining the integration of LGBT refugees and asylum seekers and the unity of the LGBT community as a whole. This is just my part one talk about this important issue that continues to split the LGBT communities apart. So I thought and I still think it's equally important to talk about these issues because if we leave it like that, then in the near future, people will be fighting over racism, how to sort out racism in the LGBT community. So I just made a research on this issue because um, I'm a person. I've been affected a lot in my life. There've been a lot of things that have happened in my life. I think many of you guys know that I'm from Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is a country in Central Africa. And when I was still in Congo, I didn't know anything about racism because we didn't have the white communities, majority of like the white community a lot the way they are in South Africa or the way they are in the United States. We only have few white people who come to Congo maybe for work. Since the end of colonization, most of Belgium went back to Belgium. And then we only have few white people who live in Congo maybe to work. And there's not like in majority like living around the city in Kinshasa or they live mostly downtown and in most expensive places. So I experiences racism during my stays in South Africa. That's how I got to know the effect of racism. That's how I got to know how racism can affect someone's life. How that's how I got to know that I was different because of my skin color. Um, yeah, like in my case, coming into the United States, which has the same history like South Africa. I knew that I'm going to be dealing with racism still in the United States. And as I got into the US, I was in Chicago, and there were protests all over the country is about white police officers shooting black men and children and unarmed black men and children. Um, I was not amazed because I knew that there were issues. As someone who studied, as someone who know about history, I know about the civil rights movement in the United States. I know about apartheid in South Africa. So I knew all of those things. So yeah, it's so sad that post-apartheid South Africa racism is still rampant, and people keep on celebrating the Martin Luther King Jr.'s, but yet racism is still rampant. The same people who celebrate Martin Luther King Jr.'s Day, they're the same people who continue to oppress other people, who continue to swear racial slurs, who continue to being defensive when people start telling them about racism. They say no, this was not racism, or they try to cover up the truth. They try to cover up prejudice. They try to cover up racism. So it is so sad for a community like the LGBT community that had to we still are not free. LGBT people can get married in the United States. But that doesn't mean that they cannot be fired. That doesn't mean that they cannot be beaten up on the street, and it doesn't matter about your skin color. You might be white, but because you are homosexual, you can be fired still from your work. You might be white, but because you are transgender woman, you can be killed on the street of the United States. It's homophobia and transphobia know no race. It knows no color, skin color. It's no ethnicity. The only thing is know that be openly gay or be openly transgender, then you have to consider yourself in danger whenever you walk on the street, whenever you interact with people, with religious extremist people, you have to know that you are in immediate danger. It doesn't matter whether those people are law enforcement, whether they are police officers. Recently, I've read in the news where one guy had an argument with his brother, and police officer came and dragged him out of the house in New York. It's Staten Land in New York. Dragged him out of the house, starting to beat him up, yelling at him, faggot, and saying he has HIV/AIDS. If they touch his blood, they will die. So it doesn't matter whether you're white, whether you're black, homophobia is out there. So the sad reality is like gay people have internalized homophobia. So I made some research, a little bit of research. This is just part one of my video about racism in the LGBT community. So I'm going to I'm going to read a little bit of some of the research. I just read it on the paper, which say I got it actually from Wikipedia, which I'm going to pass the link uh, below of my video as soon as I finish recording this video. I'm going to pass the link below so that you guys can do some research and check on it and try to see what you can do to handle this. So they say it's written many people experience racism in dominant LGBT community where racial stereotypes merge with gender stereotypes such that Asian American LGBT people are viewed as more passive and feminine, while African American LGBTs are viewed as masculine and aggressive. And they say again here that some gay black men report discrimination and harassment from white gay men in the in gay bars and clubs. In the past, there were gay bars that would put up signs that said such that they such no blacks, no faggots, no femmes. So these are it's really still happening. It is not really very visible in nightclub anymore, or it's not really educated. It's happening, but it is still happening. Like for us LGBT asylum seekers and LGBT refugees when we arrive. Most of us arrive in the country alone. Before we start connecting with other LGBT people who are like, I'm from Africa, start finding LGBT people who are from Africa. First of all, I'm going to go to, maybe since I have my iPhone, sometimes I feel like connecting online, maybe going to application where gay men are to maybe, try to find not only just love or sex, but try to create a relationship, a friendship with people who live in the country. And then it becomes a problem because some people say they just put on their profile no black people, only white people, only this and only that. You will see that it is actually very sad for a community like the LGBT community that has been oppressed to now they've internalized oppression to an extent that they have masculinity is is people the LGBT community now honor masculinity. It's like it's superior. It's like gender non-conforming people have no space anymore. They call them femme, they call them faggot, they call them, black LGBT community has no place. Transgender people have no place anymore. So as soon as, like, it's just like they've got what they wanted, so they don't care about other people who also belong in the same community. They might be black, but still they identify as LGBT. Transgender people are the T that is LGBT. Gender non-conforming it's a gender issue. They can still identify as male or female. They can still identify as gay or lesbian, but they are gender non-conforming. That's a gender issue. There's now confusion between sexual orientation and gender identity. So there is, I think it is really very important to look into this issue because we are one community, and if we want the integration of LGBT refugees and asylum seekers in countries which are so-called gay-friendly countries, then we need togetherness. We need helping one another. We need togetherness. We need unity if we want to really reach the equality that we want from other straight people to, if we really want equality, like in the case of interracial marriages, which we are comparing it with the marriage equality, it was equality of heterosexual people between a black woman and a white man. That was the interracial case in the United States that we today compare it with our movement of marriage equality that we want. So if we want to call the LGBT rights the new civil rights movement, we have to, there's a connection between our struggle and Black Lives Matter. Because if you look at the history of LGBT rights, before there were riots, like Stonewall riot that happened in New York City, where gay people were beaten up, gay people were being victims of police brutality. Even until today, the case of what happened in New York, it was police brutality. Gay people are being brutalized in Russia, in many other countries that you might want to go visit, that you might want to go stay there. What will happen to you? So there's a connection, there's interconnection between the experience of black people and the experience of gay people. So President Obama even said it. Be the change you want to see in the world. Don't just say, I want people to treat me very well, while you cannot treat other people who are marginalized very well. You only want yourself to be treated good, but you don't care about other people who are marginalized. LGBT, gays and lesbians are now gaining their rights. What about transgender people? We need to start thinking about helping transgender people whose lives are every day in danger, who are being killed almost every month in the United States, who are really struggling, who are poor, who cannot find jobs, who cannot find housing, who cannot access healthcare because of who they are. Homeless LGBT youth who are on the street, who are struggling. What are we doing to help all of those people? We have to give, they call it give back to your community. They call it pay it forward. When you reach a certain level of self-actualization, it's the time to reach out. It's the time to help others. It's the time to be more active in your community. If we want to achieve the equality and the human rights that we are fighting for every day, we have to develop transformational activism to change our inside to our outside. And that is how we are going to achieve, to reach a peaceful world. And that is why we are going to have a homophobia and transphobia free generation. Thank you very much for um, for watching the video on my YouTube channel and being my YouTube follower, my YouTube fan. Thank you very much. I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday evening. I'm going to come back again with the second part of my research on racism in the LGBT community. This was just the first part. So I'm going to research more on this issue, and then I'm going to come back with more information and more things to add on this issue. Thank you very much. Bye bye.